Okay, so our project of the day is to prepare our RV for cold temperatures. So there's a couple things we want to do. Mainly we're trying to protect our pipes and make sure they don't freeze. Now the hope is we're going to be in our home before it gets too terribly cold, around Christmas time or so. And in our area, it doesn't drop below freezing for extended periods of time, typically, very often at all. And if it does, typically more into January, February. However, better to be safe. You don't want pipes bursting and frozen water pipes and things like that. So we're doing a few things. The first thing is I bought this foam insulation, well not foam, this whatever this is, foil-faced insulation boards. They come in a 4x8 sheet, cut it in half to 2 feet, which works out about right. Now if we put the foil faced out, it would probably insulate better. Problem is, it looks ugly. So we're putting the white side out because it looks a little bit more shiplap and all a little more fashionable. So we're using that as a base to keep that cold air from rushing under the camper. That'll help insulate the heat a little bit better when we're running heat. It'll also help insulate the water in the pipes underneath, because when you have that cold air blowing underneath, that's what can really kind of cause you to lose some of that heat and potentially freeze your pipe. So in the barn that's on our property, we have an absolute mind-boggling abundance of random trim. So I'm using this trim, just hammering it into the ground, sliding the insulation in, and it actually looks halfway decent. It's got this nice thick barrier, so I think it'll help keep that air from getting too cold underneath. Only problem I'm seeing so far is this cut edge is exposed. The product itself is water resistant. However, I imagine a cut edge like that is not. So I'm thinking if water starts dripping into that, it'll start to expand and cause issues. So the plan for the top exposed cut edge here is we'll probably just have to cover that with a piece of tape. Now the next thing we've got to think about is the water supply going to the camper. Now the first thing we're doing is we have this hose that's actually a heated hose. You plug it in and it heats the water as it passes through it. I'm going to put that right at the pump that comes from the ground. The rest will not be heated. This hose I think is only 25, 15 feet long, something like that. And we're going about 60 feet. We don't want to spend $1,000 on 60 feet of heated hose. So the first bit will be heated, and we're hoping that residual heat will carry it to the camper without causing it to freeze. But just to be sure, what I'm doing is I'm insulating the hose after the heated hose. Now the other thing we have to think about is we have a very large water filter, and it's got 3 canisters in here. You can't see it because of the way it's spun around. But my thinking is put it inside this container, insulate this container, close that up, and hopefully that will insulate our filter, because if those canisters freeze and break, that's a bit of a loss of an investment, and again, we lose water to our camper. So that's the plan.